And this is one of those departures, Wilf, that has people saying, how many people are going to be leaving Tesla, and when does the executive turnover get to the point where everyone's saying something needs to be done in terms of getting executives to stay at Tesla? Likely it's going to take some time because we continue to see new executives moving into positions that were previously held by an executive who left. The latest, Jonathan Chang. He is the new general counsel for Tesla. He's been with the company roughly about 7.5 years. He replaces the previous general counsel who was only there for a couple of months. How many executives or top executives have left this company in the last couple of years? By some estimates, it's between 40 and 50 who have left the company under Elon Musk's watch over the last couple of years. Here's some of the more notable ones. The general counsel today, the CFO announced his retirement last month. In December, the previous general counsel left. 2 general counsels ago, I should say. Then you had the chief accounting officer leaving in September, the VP of engineering leaving in July. And guys, these are some of just the most notable departures from Tesla in the last year on the executive side. If you take a look at shares of the stock, yeah, it was under a little bit of pressure today, but not as much as you might expect, given that many of the people, investors, bears, are out there online saying this is an example of why something is wrong at Tesla. But you have others saying, look, this is simply an example of Elon Musk being a tough guy to work for and someone that executives say, you know what, I'm going to move on and I'm going to do something else.
Phil Lebeau, thank you. Joining us now to discuss whether the management changes are a risk for Tesla investors are Joseph Osha from JMP Securities and Craig Irwin from Roth Capital. Good afternoon to you both. Afternoon. Joseph, I want to start with you. I mean, you need a spreadsheet to keep track of all of these executive departures at Tesla. Doesn't that worry you?
It does. Look, we pointed out when we initiated coverage of the stock that the management style was a bit of a problem. I think Elon's a great leader and a great innovator. I'm not sure that he's the greatest manager. So this is a problem. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Craig, what's your take and what do you put these departures down to?
You know, I would say that Tesla is probably a difficult culture to work in. You know, it's a high-performance environment. CEO is known for being exceptionally demanding. So I wouldn't disagree with Joe. I think that there are people that fit and people that don't. So elevated turnover at this point in the growth cycle probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Joe, you got a market outperform rating on the stock. Why and what would it take for you to, I guess, sort of reassess that thesis?
Yeah. Well, I think Tesla's succeeding in spite of some of these problems that Craig and I agree on. They still make better electric vehicles than anybody else. We published a report last week comparing Tesla to the new Jaguar I-Pace, and I think you saw what our conclusion was there. So the products are good enough and the roadmap is good enough to allow Tesla to be successful, even though you have, let's face it, a fair amount of chaos in management.
Craig, do you disagree? Do you think the competition is catching up with Tesla's innovation?
You know, I actually do disagree. I think the executive turnover really points to us having to do more significant due diligence. That's why I believe from my diligence, the METI data shows the battery price, $240 a kilowatt hour, almost exactly what Porsche is paying to their third-party supplier. I love the Taycan. I think the Jaguar E-Pace is going to be interesting. You know, I think the competitive dynamic this year is going to be really important, and the most important thing this year for investors to understand is what is the actual battery price? And it's a lot higher than the whisper number that the company likes to put out.
Joe, one of the interesting things from the podcast that was posted a couple of days ago, quite detailed podcast, was comments about how close they are to fully autonomous long-distance journeys. Do you take that as that being approved by regulators as well? Do you think that's how people took that, or is that still many years away from actually being deliverable because of all those factors that need to kind of take place first of all?
I think it's a good ways away from being deliverable. It's certainly neat that Tesla has worked so hard to advance that. There are other companies we've looked at, like Peloton, doing some work in trucks, but it's going to be a while before you have fully autonomous long-distance travel. By the way, Craig, I agree with you on the Porsche. When that comes, that is going to be, I think, a very interesting competitor.
Yeah, one of the other things in terms of news for Tesla in the last 24 hours, you did have Elon Musk tweeting not once but twice last night, the second time correcting or I guess adding more details to his previous statement, noting annualized production rate at the end of 2019 probably around 500,000 or 10,000 cars per week. Deliveries for the year still estimated to be around 400,000. Thoughts on that?
Is that to me or Craig?
To Craig.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Craig.
I think that I think that the 500,000 number is sort of aspirational. That's where he'd like to be. But we all know quite clearly they've guided to 360 to 400,000 cars this year. That's much more in the range of what's doable. Could they be at the 500,000 unit run rate by the end of the year? Yes. That is a credible annualized target. The one thing that this really does raise a red flag for is his Twitter posts are supposed to see some sort of oversight to stop the mistakes that have been made over the last couple of years. And, this shows an obvious breakdown in the compliance and oversight mechanism that was in place. Hopefully, Jonathan Chang can work with him constructively to get something good in place.
Yeah. Joe, quickly, your thoughts?
Again, don't really disagree. I think that the board's got some work to do here, to be honest. But I will return to the earlier point. They're still building better cars than anybody else, and that I think is going to be what makes the difference.